What is going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back for the OPTC video, and in today's video, we're ranking the treasure map characters that are available on OPTC Global and Japan, and talking about which ones are worth your blue tickets if you are missing any of them, and putting them in a ranking order who I think is the best to the worst. Now, with level limit break, it's kind of changed the game when it comes to free-to-play characters, as getting characters level 150 just gives them monstrous stat buffs. But in saying that, though, this is not a guide to say, hey, go spend all your blue tickets on these characters and get them to level 150. If you have an abundance of blue tickets, if you have an abundance of XP materials, I ain't here to stop ya. But I don't think any character warrants getting to level 150 unless you need them for a specific situation, something like Grand Voyage, some stat supports, something like that. So please don't think I'm saying go get these characters to level 150 if you already have these characters. But for you newer players, hopefully this tier list will help you guys out in what treasure map characters are worth picking up and what characters aren't. Blue tickets are pretty valuable. They're great at getting, they're great for getting your hands on limit break materials as well. So just be very scarce when it comes to actually spending them. If you are enjoying today's video and you are enjoying the tier lists, let me know in the comment section below. Let me know what tier list you want to see next. And while you're down there, don't forget to belt the like button for me if you're new or you haven't done so already. Hit that big red subscribe button. With that said, enjoy the video and let's dive into the content. Alright. Treasure map tier list time. So, as you can see on the left here, we have a bunch of tiers. Goldly being the top, not bad being the bottom. I do have a spot here for supports and stats. Now, this particular spot here is basically designed for the whales of the game. This particular spot is purely for those people that have an abundance of XP materials and want some better stat boosters for their characters, for stuff like Kazuna and stuff like that. But we'll talk about them when we actually get to them. Obviously, Godly is the best of the best. You want to limit break expand these characters. I use them massively, and obviously this tier list is based off my personal recommendation of playing the game, so take it with a grain of salt. And as always, big shout out to OP Tier List Maker and OPTC Database for the images provided. Both those links will be in the description as always. So Goldie is the top. We then have Amazing. These characters here do see quite a lot of play, or they might have seen a lot of play and they've kind of dropped off a little bit. I would probably still limit break expand these characters, as treasure map characters don't take that much to limit break expand. Next, we've got Good. They sort of sit in the middle. Solid, they're okay, and then Not Bad is like you can use them if you want to, but they're pretty niche. Alright, but with that said, we've also got the Final Destination down here. This is where we send all of the characters that you never need to worry about. First of all, we got Mihawk. Now, this is one of those characters I was talking about with supports. Mihawk gives 11% of his stats, or his attack, to slasher characters, or slashers. When you get this character to level 150, he has like 3,400 attack. So that 11% is like 350 extra attack. That's what I mean when I say supports here. I don't recommend doing this, especially for newer players. But for you endgame players, you hardcore grinders that have a lot of XP mats, that like to do a little bit more damage and stuff like Kazuna, this particular Mihawk is going to be very good for you, because slashers are like big hitters. Next, we've got Whitebeard. Whitebeard's not bad. 2 times Orb Boost nowadays is not that great. He's very similar to the level limit break of V1 Whitebeard, actually. But with his limit break expansion, he goes down to 12 turns of cooldown, and he can be like a wave clearer. Plus, he's a 2 times attack boost to himself. You can use him, but like nowadays, like there's just so many other Whitebeards. Like, and for that reason, I'm gonna send him to the Final Destination. Cavendish, absolutely dookie. We're sending Cavendish to the Final Destination. The only good thing about Cavendish is he removes beneficial effects, and there's just so many better characters nowadays that actually do that. As for this Luffy's not bad. Like, this Luffy's not bad. He's a 1.75 times color finger booster, rotates block ops, and he's a Luffy. He's a quick Luffy who's a powerhouse in free spirit. Very good classes. And, like, final tap Luffy, where you at, you know? That's what I'm saying. As for Ace, this Ace is pretty good. I don't know if I'd say he's amazing anymore, but he does rotate all orbs into strength, which he makes matching. He then gives a 1.75 times attack boost to Sai, quick, and strength characters. He's an Ace unit as well, so he does have some pretty good supports. I have limit break expanded this guy, and I did used to use him quite a lot. But nowadays, like I said, I don't use him too much. But yeah, giving a full bottom matching orbs if your captain is a free spirit, and then like an attack boost for 3 colors is pretty nice. This Sabo nowadays is so niche. Like, he's a conditional booster if your captain's cerebral, but you need to have the defense down condition, which he does provide. But there is a thing called full immunity, which can kind of absolutely destroy you. As for Zora and Sanji, they're not bad. 2.25 times orb boost to sight and quick is pretty good. They have a nice switch ability, and they have wave clearing shenanigans as well with their liver break expansion. Kizaru, send him down the river. He's never been good. Never ever been good. Big Mom's probably still amazing. I don't know if I would say she's godly anymore. She gives you a full board of G-Orbs through Block Orbs. She gives you a 3 times Orb boost, color affinity buff, as well as an attack buff. But the attack buff and the color affinity buff are only quite small. She also removes positive effects, and this is what I meant by Cavendish when I was saying there's just better options that can remove positive effects if you get something like that 1.1 times attack or Orb boost. But getting a 3 times Orb boost, as well as a 1.5 times attack and color affinity boost can be a lot of damage for one stage. And she's a big mom. She's got a lot of very good supports. Croc, he has some Captain Swap shenanigans, but has never, ever been good. Like, don't even at me. He was made for Katakuri, V1 Katakuri, to get the delay off. And then, like, if you like playing like that, go for it. But Crocodile sucks. He sucks. Jack. Honestly, Jack is amazing. I don't know if I'd put him in godly, but removing 2 turns of defense up, damage nullification is very, very strong. Nowadays, with, like, King and Queen and those types of supports, Smoker, you can do a lot with this Jack. He's pretty, like... He does a lot of stuff that not a lot of the other characters can do. Mainly the damage null removal. And with his Limit Break expansion, like, he goes down to something like 12 turns, which is pretty nice for what he does. But unfortunately, it is only 2 turns. Enel has dropped off drastically for me. I'm going to put him in solid because I still think he's quite a good option. But the idea of Enel, he's just basically built around wave clearing shenanigans. And he gives himself 5 turns of cooldown whenever any other character uses a special. So if you're looking for speed farming teams and stuff, Enel can be good. But nowadays, like, there's better options. Like, I just run better options. Mr. Shanksy boy. I'm going to put Shanks in not bad just because I'm biased. He gives you a full board of orbs basically through block orbs. He doesn't give you a full board of orbs, but he greatly increases the chance of landing on orbs and then he randomizes them. So there's a good chance you're going to get his orb manipulation. But he also removes barriers, which is kind of nice. He's on a 6-turn cooldown, which is very, very good. And he also gives tap timing bonus, which isn't amazing because of normal attacks only. But if it does work, it can work. So he's not bad. He's not bad. As for this Boa is actually good. Like, she is a good unit. For shooter teams, she always finds her way on my shooter teams for some reason. She can remove defensive effects, as well as be a conditional booster for the defense down condition, which she can actually proc because she has double special activation. She can remove Threshold as well, and Resilience by 2 turns, 4 turns with a double special. If your captain is an empty orb, she'll change it to int, and if it's an int orb, then she does the conditional, and then she doubles the slot effects as well, which is really, really cool. So, she's a pretty good unit. She has a lot going on, though, and, like, there's a couple conditions you have to fulfill. So, for that reason, I don't think she's amazing, but, like, she's definitely good. Definitely good. This lore, though, honestly, I kind of want to put this lore in godly. I use this lore so much. He's a fighter and a slasher. He gives cooldowns. He does bind and despair removal for 2 turns, and he basically starts with his special. The downside to this lore, obviously he's a lore too, so he has really, really good supports. The downside to this particular lore, though, is that he only does 2 turns of the bind and the despair removal. If this was like 3 turns, it'd be great. But he's a chain booster as well, so that actually helps out quite a bit. But I think just because he's only 2 turns of his utility, I do want to put him down into amazing. His cooldowns are really, really nice for the fighter slash just cerebral free spirit. He came out with carrots at all of those like classes, as well as giving adjacent orbs as well. But I use this lore religiously. I use him so much. As for Christmas Nami used to be godly, but nowadays I think she's just amazing. Because there's so many other characters that have come out that can just do what Christmas Nami does, I just don't think she's in that godly tier anymore. But for stuff like Dofi 1, she was the GOAT. Like, she kind of still is, to be honest. When it comes to Dofi 1, I'm talking here. But she can remove 3 turns of basically every debuff under the sun. She removes paralysis, she removes sound effects, she removes burn, attack down, chain lock, chain growth. She rotates block orbs and unfavorable slots. But the downside to her is it's only 3 turns. These particular characters that came out early only do like 2 and 3 turns of like utility, which makes them not as good as they once. Well, they're still good for that particular content, but when new content comes out, they are going to drop off quite a bit. This Kaido's never been good, so we can just send him to the final destination. Same with Dofi. That Dofi sucks. He just does damage reduction and it's kind of like whatever. As for Smoothie and Oven are good. They give an orb boost to Sai. Can you just go to the front, please? They give an orb boost to Sai and Quick, but their switch ability is the big reason you want them. They do end of turn damage on their switch ability, which is great for getting through stuff like Resilience. But nowadays, there's a lot of characters like Legend X Drake, the new Big Mom, V1 Kaido. All those characters can just get through Resilience with their like end of turn damage anyway. So having that switch ability isn't as good as it once was. But they are still pretty good. Like, they're still a good unit. As for Weevil, I'm going to put Weevil in Godly. I think Weevil is the first godly unit, and honestly, for how good Weevil is, I don't use him nearly as much as I should. He removes 20 turns of attack down. Like, Why they did that when he first came out is beyond me, but I think it had something to do with the whole, like, being Whitebeard's son. And they're, not White, yeah, Whitebeard's son. And Whitebeard actually removes 20 turns of despair, the legend Whitebeard that came out. So I think it had something to do with that, but, like, I don't know what they were thinking when they did that, because, like, 20 turns is so much. Let me know your thoughts and opinions of why they did that in the comment section below. And if you're enjoying the content, make sure to like the video for me. If you're new, hit the big red subscribe button as well. But Weevil not only removes 20 turns of attack down, he does 300 times his attack in tap timing bonuses for 2 turns. Fortunately, that will get cucked by normal attacks only. But when it doesn't, that's a lot of extra damage. And he doubles Crew's attack by 1 turn if the enemy has delay status or, like, immunity status. So, Weevil's really good. Like, when you have, like, I remember there was content that had like 10 turns of attack down. I think it was like the Hina ambush or something like that. And this guy was just an absolute weapon. Being able to remove 20 turns is nothing to scoff at, so I do think he's pretty godly. Shanks and Beckman. Shanks and Beckman are solid. The downside to Shanks and Beckman is you lose all your orbs. There are 3 times color affinity boost and a 3 times chain lock, but you can only use their special in the turn. You can do some pretty cool shenanigans, though, where, like, if you lock rainbow orbs or Wano slots, and then, like, carry them into the next stage with still having a chain lock, and then use the Shanks and Beckman special to get, like, the color affinity and the chain lock if you have, like, on a revive mechanic, or something like that. You can do some pretty cool stuff, but it's pretty niche, and, like, he's pretty solid. He's just solid. Lucci's another one of those support characters that I was talking about. Unfortunately, he only goes on Stussy and Kaku, but he gives, like, 11% of his, attack to them, which is very, very, very strong. I'll actually just quickly look at the number. It's 12% of his base attack, and if you get him to level Limit Break Expanded as well as Limit Break Expansion and Cotton Candy, he'll be looking the same as this kind of Mihawk here. So I do think the Lucci can be good stats, but again, don't do this unless you're a huge whale. And there's like a good like they release a Kaku Legend or like a CP9 without Lucci Legend, I guess is the best way to put it. Onto Fuji and Akainu. I love this unit. I use this unit religiously. Their switchability is so good. 1.5 times orb boost to strength, int, and dex characters. Their special is great for speed farming. It just basically kills stuff. Like, fodder stages just die. Great for treasure map. Again, fodder stages just die. Their switchability is the big point, but they also have a Sailor that gives them 4 turns of cooldown whenever they use a special. And their special, just like I said, it just wave clears for you. So very, very good unit. They have a Kainu, they have Fuji, they have great supports. I love this unit, and I use them so, so much. As for Smoker's another sort of support character. He can go on Luffy's. So Smoker going on Luffy's is part of what makes him what he is. He's okay because he's an orb booster for fighters and driven characters and a chain boost, as well as doing damage. But, like, nowadays, like, I couldn't tell you the last time, like, when I've ever used this Smoker. Chain boost is good, doubling orb boost is good, but the big thing about him here is he gives 11% of his attack to stuff like Boas, Laws, Sabo, any character from the Stampede movie, he'll give 11% of his stats to. So, that's actually pretty decent. Again, if you get him Limit Break Expanded, level Limit Break, again, don't do it unless you're a whale, or unless you're like a very hardcore grinder, but he is an option for you guys if you're looking down that route. As for what he does, he's not bad. He's not bad at all. 2 times orbs, nothing to scoff at. Chain boost if your captain is fighter and driven. Honestly, he's probably solid, to be honest. I'd probably say he's more solid. As for this Blackbeard, this Blackbeard's not bad. He gives a 2 times attack and orb boost to in characters and cooldowns, but you can only use like 2 specials in the turn, including his. So for that reason, he's kind of just like, yeah, he's kind of whatever. This Hawkins, though, honestly sucks. But his support is another one of those supports. It goes on Kaido, where he gives just a butt ton of stats. Again, only if you're a hardcore grinder should you be doing this. And you have the materials to do so. But giving the, 11% base attack to Kaido units. And Kaido has some pretty good legends. For Kuzuna, like, that is going to be pretty nice. This Nami's not bad. She can give 2 times of color affinity boost, which she can carry into the next turn, as long as your captain is a shooter captain. Now, downside is shooters are kind of mid, but she gives rainbow color affinity if your captain is shooter. So you can put her on like a verse ace team, fill the rest of the team out with something like, free spirit characters, and still get that color affinity buff to proc. She has the perfect buff that gives you doubling the color affinity into the next turn. Plus, she deals 200,000 damage to all enemies, which is pretty nice. As for Orobi, though, Orobi is a god. She's god tier. 3 turns of special bind, 3 turns of paralysis. She's a Robin, so she has really, really good supports. She's very, very good. Very, very good, a treasure map character. She'll also remove 3 turns of damage reduction and threshold. And if you're above 50%, she just nullifies damage from strength and, psi, sorry. So that means you can, like, just tank death shots and stuff like that. As for X-Drake isn't... Look, I don't ever really use this X-Drake, but, like, I guess he's not bad because he does something that not a lot of characters can do. X-Drake can remove up to 5 turns of barriers, which can be kind of nice, and he also changes crew's unfavorable slots into matching. But it all depends on how many strength decks and quick character slots you've taken. And if you have done over 25 slots, you can get 2.5 million damage to one enemy, and you can remove 5 turns of barriers. Like, that can be good. It can be good, but like when you see it, not very often. As for this Luffy, I'm going to move this Luffy up into solid. I think this Luffy's better than like some of these units down here. If I'm completely honest with you. Just because he has block orb manipulation, he's a Luffy, and he gives, like, color affinity, being power, free spirit. I think he's better than these guys here. Oh, I use him more than these guys here. That's what I really should say. Viola and Rebecca. Viola and Rebecca are interesting. They give healing on their switch, and they give it chain lock. I don't use them that much nowadays, but, like, they're not bad. Like, they're not bad. They can be up to a 3.5 times chain lock, depending on how many enemies are present. And their heal is actually quite nice. They rotate empty orbs as well. They're built around sort of Nami Robin. So they're not bad, but like they're not a character that I would focus on. As for Vivi's actually good. Honestly, Vivi's probably amazing. She has double special activation and she can remove chain lock. She also gives adjacent orbs matching, which is really, really nice. But the big thing about her is that she has like the ability to proc her special twice and get a 2 times attack boost to your entire team, provided you've used her special in the same turn. She gives you adjacent orbs to recovery, which is great at getting around stuff like hunger, and removing chain lock can be good, but it can also be detrimental if you have your own chain lock. So for that reason, like, I think she's just good. Like, 2 times attack boost is nice, Rainbow, but like, you have to use both like her special in the one turn. And if you could go to the front though, that would be great. Vivi, thank you very much. Otherwise, it's just 1.75, and it's kind of like what this Ace does, just without all of the like orb manipulation. So she's good. Yeah, she's good. Shirahoshi, this Shirahoshi sucks. I used her in a free-to-play team, like, because she's just so good at tanking. She gives you halving damage as long as there's, like, 6 turns. As long as there's 6 enemies present, 5 if there's 5, and you guys get what I'm saying. But, like, you don't need her. Like, you don't need her. They're just better recruits and stuff. This Luffy, though. This Luffy's godly, man. This Luffy's so good. The Anniversary Luffy. 4 turns of attack down, 4 turns of despair. He's a, free spirit character, which is very, very nice. And he's a Luffy. Plus, he's also a 2 times orb booster, Rainbow, to your crew, which is excelente. Plus, he changes recovery, tandem, unfavorable slots to matching, and he, like I said, he doubles crew slot effects. Very, very good character. He also does blind. Sorry, he does blind as well. Attack down, despair, and blind. So, great utility. He's a Luffy. What else can I say? As with this Zoro, he's another godly character. The king of treasure map, honestly, like when it comes to speed farming, double special activation, just popping specials. He's so fast. So damn fast. Like, so fast. Plus, he has a bonkers ink effect. Man, like, we're just getting back-to-back godly units here. Reiju, absolutely phenomenal. Reiju's so good for Dofi too, because she has that Sailor ability that can remove 1 turn of paralysis. Plus, she can remove damage reduction. She rotates block orbs. She removes threshold. Plus, she has a conditional booster to poisoning that she does herself. So, self-blocking conditional booster, provided your captain is quick or int. If your captain's quick or int, she's going to give, the, what's it called? The, conditional to poison. Plus, she has the perfect buff, so you can actually get a conditional on the neck, like poison on the next turn. So you can get 2 turns of a conditional boost, which is absolutely wild. Such a good unit. Very, very good. Nami and Sanji are pretty amazing. They're just like they're the goats for the Enel Garps challenge. So if you're struggling with that, pick these guys up. They were also really good for Dofi 2 for me when I did my Final Tap Luffy run. So they're quite nice. Their switch ability can rotate unfavorable orbs for fighters and free spirit characters into characters' own slots. They also remove 5 turns of special bind and completely remove stun, whilst also doubling slot effects. Their switch ability as well will also remove their Sailor ability will completely remove special bind on themselves. So they're one of those characters that have fear that can get around stun as well as get around special bind. So they are amazing. As for this pudding, I don't ever really use this pudding, to be honest. I don't think she's ever been that great, but I think she's actually got good stat supports. She does 5% reduction to psi characters, which can actually be pretty useful nowadays, as well as giving 10% HP in recovery to Sanji, basically. The idea of this is just so you can tank, like, death damage from side characters. But, like, she's not one that you need to level up like these other three. She's just kind of like a nice stat, like a nice support stat. As for Jinbei, Jinbei is actually pretty amazing. I don't know if I'd say this Jinbei is God tier. Can you just get in the front? Thank you. I don't think I'd say this Jinbei is God tier, but I do think he's definitely amazing. He can do 7 turns of special blind. Anyone that does over 6 turns is always very, very good. And he was brought out around the time of Luffy and Sanji, so he's sort of built around the strength and psi meta. He does a 2x color affinity booster for those 2 colors, as well as int. They sort of just threw int in there too, which is pretty nice. He also does 7 turns of paralysis removal. However, you do need to be at max HP to get the 2x color affinity boost. Otherwise, he's a 1.75. Still though, 7 turns of paralysis, 7 turns of special blinds is very, very nice. But a big knock I have with this particular unit is that he doesn't have fear. He does have ship blind, which is kind of whatever, but he does remove his own special blind charge by special blind by 7 turns, which is very nice. But unfortunately, he's just got ship blind, which means that fear can just absolutely destroy this man. Kid's good. Kid's really good for the Grand Voyage. At the Alvida one, he's a god because he actually has hunger. So I would definitely look at Limit Break expanding this guy, but getting all of his effects to pop off is actually pretty tricky. If you've got blind, he's an attack booster. If you have despair, he's an orb booster. I mean, if you have paralysis, he's a color affinity booster. Then he also gives you a full board of orbs. So he's good, but I just don't use him that often because like the situation is so subjective, or it's so niche in the sense of needing those debuffs. And if you remove those debuffs with the support and then you try and use his special, it doesn't actually proc. However, the Luffy Taro that came out alongside him, the support that goes on him, is so good. Because if you use the kid special, you can get 2 turns of blind, despair, and paralysis removal with that support as well. So it works out like an absolute dreamboat. As for this Garp is pretty good, to be honest. I really like this Garp. He's a Garp unit, which is very nice for stuff like Suru supports. Plus, he can give you a attack boost to your Free Spirit, Driven, Cerebral, and Powerhouse classes, he's the Rainbow attack boost provided your captain is a Fighter, Slasher, Striker, or Shooter class, and then he gives cooldowns to Free Spirit, Driven, Cerebral, Powerhouse, and like by 2 turns, which is very, very nice. He gives you a full board of Psi and Recovery slots, which he also makes matching. The downside to this guy is he has that ability where your captain needs to be one of the primary classes and one of the secondary classes, very similar to like Wano Law. Nevertheless, it's not a huge detriment to the character, but getting the 2 turns of special charge is sort of what I use this guy for. He has special reverse built in his kit as well as having fear. So he's one of those characters very similar to Kid where you actually want to limit break, because once the situation comes around, he's very, very good, like a very, very good unit. Next we've got Komurasaki. Komurasaki's not actually like that great, to be honest. She not bad. She does 2 turns of attack down removal, 2 turns of special blind, which she has double special, so you can proc that twice. She doesn't have the ability to remove special blind on herself though, which kind of sucks. But she's all about sort of tanking damage. If you use her special a bunch of times, she will be up to a like nullify damage. If you use her special more than 2 times in the run, if a Dex teammate uses a special, she gets her own special charge, which is cool. But I don't think I've ever used her in like any possible way. Queen sucks. Queen's trash. The only good thing that Queen is good for is PvP. Even as a support, he's dookie. He sucks. You only want to level this guy up. You only want to level him up. And I'm gonna do this right here. I'm just literally gonna make his own tier right here for PvP. Queen's only use is PvP, and even nowadays, like the quick team's just like never using him. To be honest, like it is what it is. Like it's that's the bottom line. All right, we're gonna leave it like that, and we're just gonna move on. It is what it is. Like literally, Queen's only uses PvP, and if you need like a good like quick unit, that's basically where you're going to use him. To be honest, like that's the bottom line. As for Luffy and Ace are good. Now they're amazing. They've got good utility, bind and despair removal. They're an attack booster and they're a color affinity booster as well, provided you are looking at a free spirit centric team. They're like one of those fake dual units, and they also change character slot to their own type. So they like change their own type, their own slot to their type. They boost attack by 1 turn, and then if you have free spirit and shooter characters on the team, they're a 1.75 color affinity booster. So they do a lot of damage. They've got some good utility. They're a pretty solid captain too. I remember using them on a free-to-play run. But the big upside to them too is they have hunger. So they're a free-to-play dex unit that you want to like max out because hunger is so scarce. Shiryu Shiryu is pretty godly, to be honest. Not only does this man have a busted support going on any in-character to remove poison, but he's actually a really good unit altogether. He gives you 2 times color affinity booster to driven and slasher characters, as well as a 90% damage reduction. But he also removes attack down and paralysis by 4 turn, and completely removes poison, which is great at getting around stuff like poison sockets. So, godly unit. I would say, like, worst case scenario, he's amazing, but, like, I use the Shiryu quite a bit, and he's very, very good. As for Koala's, like, probably, in my opinion, she's kind of on par with Luffy and Ace. She also has Hunger in her kit, and she's an attack booster to Free Spirit and Dex characters. Then if you hit a bunch of perfects, or no, she has the clock buff, sorry, she doubles their attack in the next turn, but she also heals for 3 turns and makes you immune to decreased chain multiplier growth as well as attack down. So she's like, in my opinion, she's a better version of Legend Smoker. Like, it's wild. I honestly saying that feels wild, but honestly, I truly believe it to be so. So, Koala's good. Like, she's better than good, sorry. She's amazing. Mr. Treasure Map Zoro. I love this Treasure Map Zoro. Him and the Brook, they did such a good job on. He can remove 6 turns of Threshold, which is very, very nice to have. But he also has the ability to be a 2.25 Orb Booster to Sai and Free Spirit characters. As well as if you don't have an attack boost, he can be a 1.5 times attack boost. If you have both of those, he then just, like, extends the duration of slot boost for two turns. But the amount of damage output you can get with this guy, as well as utility, is very, very nice to have. He also has the ability to give himself 1 turn of cooldown if you your Free Spirit characters use another special, which makes him very, very good. Next, we've got Kaido. Kaido's solid. Like, Kaido has the ability, and with his level limit break expansion, because he's so self-reliant, he has the ability to remove 2 turns of damage null, which is the big thing that you want to be using this Kaido for. But he gives himself like a Wano slot, and then like a 3 times attack and a 3 times orb boost. And I'm pretty sure he does it for like a bunch of turns, depending on like how many times you've used his special. No, so you're going to use 2 specials in the turn, but he gives himself an attack boost and a slot boost by 3 times, as well as a Wano slot. So he's hitting very, very hard. Like, very, very hard. Stussie's solid. She's a color affinity booster to Free Spirits and Shooters, as well as the Strength type. And if she also has Special Bind removal with Fear, which is pretty cool. I've never used her, honestly, if I'm being completely honest. I've literally never used this Stussie. There's always just been better options, and that's sort of why I'm putting her in solid. But she definitely can be used. If you have a color affinity booster, she adds 0.25. She definitely can be used. It's just, there's just so many better options nowadays. Speaking of special one removes that are a better option, it's Luffy. This Luffy, in my opinion, is the best free-to-play character in the game. 6 turns of attack down, 6 turns of special binds. He's Luffy. He's a 2 times attack booster, rotates block orbs, has a phenomenal support for Yamato, Kid, and Law, removing 1 turn of attack down. There's not much else to say about this Luffy besides he, in my opinion, is the best treasure map character that has come out in a very long time. And in my opinion, he's the best free-to-play character, honestly. Like, there's a couple of big mums that rival that, but this Luffy's so good. Free Spirit Fighter, in character, very, very good. Robin. This Robin, honestly, I could not even tell you what she does. Like, I remember she was thrown into global very quickly. And she does a attack booster for Cerebral Fighter and in characters, and if you land 3 perfects, she's going to double their attack the next turn. If your HP is at 50,000 or above, she also has damage null, so she's actually pretty good. Like, she's not bad. I've never used her though, so like, I'm gonna put her with Stussie in solid. You can use her. She's a cerebral. She's a fighter. I guess you can use her, and she's got fear. Why she's got fear is beyond me, but look, it is what it is. You definitely can use her, but I just don't think she's like the GOAT. I guess she's good though. She's good. She's solid. All right, Moria. Moria's another unit that just got thrown on, and he's really janky because he has like conditional against poison, but like doesn't actually poison. He removes 5 turns of resilience and 5 turns of defense up, and he doubles powerhouse and driven characters' slot effects by 1 turn, and reduces barriers, dealing heavy quick damage to all enemies as well. Again, I think it's just another solid unit. Like, I've never really used this Moria. I think I used him in Treasure Map once. But if you have Legend Moria, I feel like you're just going to be using Legend Moria over him because it's a better orb boost. But let me know in the comment section below if you think this Moria needs to be like bumped up into the good tier. I feel like these characters probably are good, but like I just never used them. Like, I've just never used them. So like, Stussie, I'm going to put in solid. Robin, I feel like is probably better than most. If you gave a condition, I reckon you'd be good, but like, I guess you're just solid. I would say you're just solid. Treasure Map Hyodoguro, though, is amazing. I really like Treasure Map Hyodoguro. He's a color affinity booster, depending on what type your captain is, as well as a base stat booster. He has a very, very good support for Odin's as well. But the downside to this particular character is that he needs your captain to be like Strength, Quick, or Psi to get the the color affinity, or he extends it if you have it. But then if your captain is an int or dex, he then boosts the base stats of int and dex. The downside is if I wish that it was just like a rainbow if your captain was that. But unfortunately, it's just for those colors. So say your captain is strength, quick, or psi, he does the color affinity buff for those colors. And if your captain is an int or a dex, he does the base stat boost for those colors. That's his big downside. But he also does 6 turns of defense up and heals 10,000, reducing the crew's special charge by 1 turn. But unfortunately, he doesn't have the ability to remove special charge on himself. He has the ability to do double damage to dex enemies, which I think is just pointless. I would have loved to see, like, immune to special reverse by 2 turns, you know? That would have made him just godly. But because of that, he's not all there. Tashigi. I feel like I have to put Tashigi in Amazing, because, like, she is a must for Grand Voyage level 5 against Axe Hand Morgan. In saying that, though, I don't think that she's an amazing unit. She removes 4 turns of defense up and threshold, and if you have a color affinity booster, she increases it by 0.25. Otherwise, she doubles Slasher and Cerebral characters' color affinity by 1 turn. I think she's just good, but like the fact that she is like a necessity for Grand Voyage level 5, like same with this Kid actually. Look, honestly, the fact that Kid's not a necessity though. Where like Tashigi, you have to bring Tashigi. There's no other dex slasher that can remove 4 turns of defense up and threshold. But I think she's just good. I think she's just a good unit. She will see play, but her support is so good for Zoro. Like, so good. So ridiculously good. As for these other units, these are, like, featured characters that sort of came out alongside treasure maps. They're not, like, must-own. They were kind of just, like, extras. I don't even know if they're in the treasure map shop. Let me know in the comment section if they're not. And if they're not, I do apologize. But this Usopp, he was like a what's it called unit? He was a April Fool's unit. He has like 1 turn of Bind, Despair, Paralysis, Special Bind, and then he cuts your HP by half, removes all positive effects. Like he's a character you don't need. You want him for his art. That's about it. This Garp we're gonna talk about at the end, because he's just such a funny unit. Like just a funny unit. Bon Clay. This Bon Clay is very, very niche. I think he's just not bad. It depends on what your enemy has, depending on what this Bon Clay can give you, which makes him incredibly niche. If your enemy has an attack buff, he'll actually give you an attack buff by 2.25. If the enemy has reduced damage taken, he'll reduce the damage taken, and if they have a threshold, he'll reduce that threshold. But like, it's very rare that the enemy has attack up for you to get that 2.25, so that's the big downside. This Sanji Stampede Sanji is actually good. He's a 1.75 times attack and orb booster. And can you go to the front, please? Fuck me. Alright, Sanji, we're back. He's a 1.75 times attack and orb booster, and he's a powerhouse character for int teams as well, which makes him quite powerful. Nowadays, he's not like the be-all end-all, but he's still good. Actually, honestly, I'm probably going to put him in solid. 1.75 times attack and orb boost, whilst it is good for strength, quick, and int characters, it's just not the be-all end-all now, but it is for 2 turns, which could see some play here and there. Finally, this Garp. This Garp is so damn good, but the problem with this Garp is to max him is so damn expensive. He can remove damage null by 2 turns, and he gives 2 turns of special charge to your character. Sorry, he does damage null by 3 turns, as well as reducing barriers by 3 turns. And then he becomes your captain. And when he becomes your captain, he's a 4 times captain for your team, which is actually very, very good. But the problem is, like, you need to max him out. And I wouldn't spend your tickets maxing this guy out, because of what he does has never been an actual necessity for the game. But nevertheless, he is good. He is a good character. The problem is just maxing him out. So that's up to you if you want to do that. But I would save your blue tickets for these particular characters up the top here. Mainly, though, getting limit break materials for your legends and stuff. So the final 3 characters actually aren't on the tier list. Only one of them is available in the shop, which is this Paris Sparrow. So the last 3 of the newer treasure map characters, Conjurer and Ulti, aren't actually in the shop yet, but they will eventually move into the shop, so I'm going to include them on this tier list as of May 7th. These are all the treasure map characters that are available to us. This Paris Sparrow is quite interesting. He sets the chain multiplier to 2.75 for 3 turns, locks your slots for 3 turns, and if your captain is a quick type, he deals 350 times his character's attack in quick damage to all enemies at the end of 2 turns. He has the special ability too, where he reduces his special charge by 1 turn every time a Strike or Cerebral uses a character, and he can keep a quick slot, which is actually pretty good. For Carrot and Wonder and stuff like that, he's actually really, really good. But in saying that, like, his big uses are getting around stuff like the Chain Lock shenanigans, or getting around stuff like, what's it called? End of turn resilience. That's his big gimmick, and I don't think he's, like, amazing, to say the least. But in saying that, when he works, he is going to be good. Like, he's definitely going to be good. As for Kanjuro sort of missed the mark, in my opinion. I just don't think he's a great unit. He reduces all enemies' defense by 80% for 2 turns, which I really wish was 100%. He then removes enemies' defense up and threshold and resilience by 4 turns. And if your captain slot is strength, he's going to be a conditional boost to defense down. And if your captain is driven, he doubles the type effect. So you do need a strength-driven captain, basically, to have a matching orb or have a strength orb on your captain to get this guy to work. He's a driven striker too, which is, like, not that great, like combinations for the strength slot. He was built around that, like, free-to-play Kaido that came out, to be honest, which I don't really know why they went so crazy on that Kaido, but he's just kind of there. Like, he's just, honestly, he's just kind of there. He's built for Orochi, built for Kaido, but, like, I don't see myself ever using this guy, to be, like, completely honest with you. Honestly, now that I'm, like, really thinking about it, like, he's probably just not bad. Like, I just don't see myself using him. Like, and I don't think I ever will. As for Ulti, Ulti's super interesting. She's basically a free-to-play V2 Dofi. She does a whole bunch of damage depending on how much you've done in the previous turn. Half of that. But she's also a 2x color affinity booster to Powerhouse and Striker characters. The big upside to her is her support. Especially for something like Legend X-Drake. It's going to be so damn good. But that sort of wave clean shenanigan, I don't think you'll ever really see, per se. And doubling color affinity is just kind of like it's kind of niche, to be honest, because there's just other characters that can do that. So I think she's not bad as well. Very similar to Kanjuro. I just don't really see myself using her that much. But as for her support, I do see myself using her support, like, absolutely, like, wildly. And for that reason, I'm probably actually just going to put her down in here supports, because I think that's basically where you're going to use her. Especially when they, like, more X-Ray characters come out, or more Toby Ropo characters come out. I think that's where she's going to see, like, most of her love and most of her play. She doesn't go on stuff like Kaido, though, which kind of sucks. If she wanted Kaido, like, wow, like, that would be just absolutely wild. But that's going to wrap up the tier list for today, guys. All of the treasure map characters that are available as of the 7th of May. Like I said, Ulti and Kanjuro aren't in the shop, but if they do pop in the shop, like, I wouldn't even worry about them anyway. But Perispero, he's okay. Like, he's an okay unit. But that's what the tier list looks like. As always, I will leave a picture at the end of the video. But if you did enjoy the video, make sure to go down there and belt the like button. Let me know if you disagree with anything. Let me know if you agree with anything in the comment section below. And while you're down there, if you haven't done so already, or you are new, hit that big red subscribe button. But guys, wherever you are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, I thank you for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Let's